to start eliminating negative thoughts is to turn off the news. Turn it off, let it go. You're not going to fix it. You're not going to change it. It's just the way it is. I know we're going to talk about that in a little bit, but I just wanted to throw that out. So when we're done tonight, don't turn on the news. Turn on something happy. So let's get into it, eliminating negative thoughts and how we are going to change ourselves so that we have positive thoughts, okay? So the first and foremost, we have to learn, how do we talk to ourselves? Do you know anybody that talks bad about themselves to themselves? If you're around them, they make a mistake, they cuss themselves out. They say things to themselves that they're stupid, they're dumb, they're all kinds of things. And it's been said many times that we speak to ourselves more than we speak to anyone else. And so therefore we have to be kind to ourselves. And just like before in the classes we've had before, we talk about self-love. This kind of piggybacks with that. And in order to have self-love, first we have to talk to ourselves in a way that we would like other people to talk to us. Not the way that we think people might talk to us, but in the way that we want people to talk to us. And that is kind. That is to be kind. And when we make a mistake or we do something wrong, you know, it's not the end of the world. We are not perfect. There has never been a perfect person walk on the face of this earth except for one, and that is Jesus. And I know I'm not Jesus, and I don't think that there's anybody out there that is. So therefore, we have to understand we're going to make mistakes. And if we take the mistakes and we make them into learning experiences, then we're going to start being kind to ourselves. Instead of being upset with ourselves, why not say, good lesson, good thing to learn. I remember a couple months ago when I was in Alaska and I was doing something with one of the pink salmon I caught, and I thought, I'm going to be quick with this and not put it where I was supposed to put it, and it started flopping when I thought it was done flopping and jumped out of the boat. And my first thought was, how dumb can you be? And then I said to myself, nope, don't do that. You learned a lesson. The next one you catch, you're not doing that. And therefore, it turns into a learning experience rather than a critical experience. And if you have children or you grandchildren or anybody in your life that you're around, and you wouldn't talk to them when they make a mistake the way we talk to ourselves. So first and foremost, love yourself. And if you love yourself, you're not going to talk to yourself negatively, because we know that people we love, we don't talk to that way if we want to keep that love going. And so that's your first thought. Now, so I'm gonna talk about ways to overcome our negative thought patterns, okay? First of all, you want to have negative thought time, okay? So you think, okay, we say don't talk, negatively about ourselves, and then you say have negative thought time. But what you want to do is you want to take to gain control over negative thinking is a time to commit to taking about 10 minutes a day, reviewing your negative thoughts, the things that you have said to yourself, the things that you, in your mind, you've brought up, okay? And you want to do it every day, because if we think about them and think how negative it is, then we're going to have a tendency not to do it. So we're going to gain control of it if we think about it. If we do it and we just say, okay, that was, that's just the way I am, then every time there's an issue comes up, it's going to come out. So again, I talk about if you're married or you have somebody close to you or a sibling, whatever it is, if you lash out at them, right away you say, oh, gee, I shouldn't have done that, okay? So we want to do that with ourselves. Think about it every single day. And then number two, you want to replace the negative thoughts, okay? You don't overcome them. You don't say, okay, I'm not going to do it. You replace them. You replace the negative thoughts with something positive. How many of us have ever heard, for everything that's ever happened to us that's negative, there is a positive? Everything. I'll use COVID as an example. If it wasn't for COVID, I'd never be doing Zoom calls. Never. I wouldn't be doing these classes Zoom. I wouldn't have known. I had to learn this. This was something that COVID taught me some things. I do consultations on people all over the country with a Zytoscan. And I never would have done that. So it was positive. Is there plenty of negatives about it? Absolutely. But if we look at the negative, everything is negative. But if we try to look on what we call the bright side, then we'll find something somewhere that is a delight to us. And then we have to work and replace those negative thoughts about whatever it is that happened with what happened positively based upon the thing that brought us down, whether it's COVID, whether it's a loss of a friend, whether it's what I was talking to a young girl yesterday, and she had an ACL tear. So she's out of college. She's a senior in college, and she can't play soccer. And she said, I was so bummed out. She said, but you know what? After we were talking a little while, and I said, well, how are your grades? Well, my grades really improved because I had more time to study. Well, you know, the ACL and senior day was coming up and all this stuff. That was really a downer. But all of a sudden she realized, wow, you know what? I'm on the dean's list now. So there's a positive in that. And had she stuck with that negative, that would have just went through the whole year rather than thinking about, I had more time to study, I did the right thing, and I'm still part of the team, and even though I can't play. So we have to replace the negative thoughts with a positive thought. Number 3. Oh, yes, I'm sorry. Okay, four simple steps, okay? So you have to notice when you have started the pattern. So you notice when you start the pattern that you're replacing the negative with a positive. And you want to congratulate yourself, okay? And you want to know that it's a pattern you want to continue to do. So it's just like exercising. Doreen said she's down there exercising. She knows that she wants to do it. She probably looks forward to do it. And when you're done doing it, you compliment yourself and you tell yourself you did a good job. And that's the way you need to look at it. You need to articulate what you want to be different. And you have to articulate it in your mind. And you have to think it out. So you know what you want to be different, but if you just know it and you file it away in your brain, it's not going to work. You have to talk about it. And then you have to choose a different behavior. And it has to serve your goals. Just like we talk about, we choose our friends, we choose our partners, but that all has to serve a goal that is beneficial for all of us. And if you choose to have a different behavior, it not only serves you, but it serves everybody that's around you. Because we've all heard of the negative Nellies. Nobody wants to be around the negative Nellies, okay? We want the people that are happy. Now, we're not looking for the people that's always jumping up and down and rah-rah, because sometimes that's not real. But we want somebody that's around that loves himself enough that is positive, not the negative. Now, you have to be your own best friend, okay? And that goes back to things that I've talked to many of you about, and that is loving yourself. When you sit there and say, you know, I'm the worst, I'm probably not going to get this project done, I'm probably going to fail. When I get it done, nobody's going to like it. I can't do anything right. Everybody tells me I'm wrong. I'm not good enough, obviously. You know, I'll never get better. I'm dumb, et cetera, et cetera. I don't look good. Well, if you don't like yourself, nobody else is going to like you either. It's just a fact of life. What happens in the way we treat ourselves is the way that other people are going to treat us. We set the standard. And if you set the standard that you feel that you are anything other than good, people are going to treat you as you're not good. because you put off an aura. We all do. We put off that aura. You can tell when you're around somebody if they're happy, if they're sad. You can tell, I walk in the office today and I don't know, I had a crink in my ankle or something. Patty said, it looks like you're hurting. I didn't say nothing about it, but we can tell when we're around people. So if you're your best friend and people know and get that feeling that you like yourself, they're more apt to like you, okay? And remember that when people meet you, there's about a 10-second period that people make a decision. Do I connect with you or don't I? And if we're negative, you're probably not going to connect with the people that you really want to connect with because they feel the negativity and people have a tendency to shy away from that. So you have to be your best friend. So 3 steps to being your best friend. Okay, release it. Okay, let it out. Don't dwell on things. Okay, if you really feel down about something that you've done or that happened, 3 minutes, then get rid of the pity party, get over it, okay? Because let's face it, most of it we can't change anyway. So what's the point? When I read scripture, scripture says worry is wrong. And so if I'm going to worry about the stuff I've done wrong, then it's a double whammy, okay? So get over it, move on, use it as a learning lesson and track it. Identify when you have a negative thought, okay? Be aware of you know what? In this situations is when I seem to be down. If you can identify that and track it, just like we tell people, track what you're eating, track your exercise, track when you come in here and get on the Tanita machine. Okay, we track everything so we know what's going on, and we can tell some people what time of year their body fat goes up, and a lot of that's moods because we abuse ourselves when we're not happy and when we're down and out. So track it. Awareness is very important. And then reframe it, okay? Once you know why you're doing what you're doing, if you're being mean to yourself, then consider what your best friend would say to you, or tell what you would tell your best friend in the same situation, and then tell yourself what you need to hear. I worked today, I did a EVOX today with a woman in East Hampton, and she's a therapist herself. And we were talking about that. It's hard to work with yourself. Okay, that's one of the hardest things there is. So when she came in and was doing this because she needed help, and some of the things I told her, I said, you're way too hard on yourself. And she laughed, she said, this is what I tell my clients. And yet I can't get it through to myself. And that's okay, because we need other people to help us. Our best friends will help us, but we need to understand what the best friend would say and what we'd say to the best friend. So when I work with someone like that, that actually helps me because I'm able to understand for myself and go, you know what? It's okay that I need to talk to somebody else for help and support in the same areas that I might work with people. Okay, next one, number 4, write instead of think, okay? The old thing is that people say, and it's like journaling. People say, I don't like to journal. I don't like to write things down. But the best way to really get things in your head is to write it down. And that's anything. That's what you eat, what you think, what you do, everything. So it helps us to purge the thought out. Because when you write it, if you write a letter to somebody, rather than tell them what you feel, and I really feel this way, if you start writing it, you'll feel the tension release, and you won't send the letter in all probability, okay? But you would have said the words because it's reactive. If you write things down, you will find out that you'll see yourself in a much better light, and therefore it's easier to make sense of what you're thinking and doing, and easier to let it go and then move forward in something else. So I always tell people, when you're angry, don't say anything. If anything, go write something down. Say, I'm going to go write it down. I'm going to send it to them on a piece of paper. And I guarantee you 9 times out of 10, by the time you start writing it, it's going to go away and you're going to go, I don't really think this is the way to go. Okay? Because we're very reactionary, especially when we're in the negative side of the world. And it's just so easy to not think before we speak, but we'll think when we're ready. Okay, this one. Make a conscious effort to find things to love, like, and appreciate. Wow, what a concept, huh? Let's find things that we love, whether it is other people, whether it is, the people in our lives that we just really want to be around. Things that we like to do, things that we, go hiking or exercising or visiting a friend, having a cup of tea, something that makes us feel good. And then appreciate the chance to process things and appreciate the things that we have that are special. We have so many things in our life that are really, really good, but unfortunately, the negative always seems to blur that out. And oftentimes we have to be reminded what it is that is good for us. And I look around at things and I just go, when I get down and I look around, I go, you know what? I love doing what I do. I love the people that I work with and that work for me. I love my health the way it's been. And it's hard sometimes to look at the good side, but there's so much good in there. And then we have to reach for the relief. And the relief means find the positives. Look for it, reach for it, and then you'll find it. And once you find it, it's so much easier to stay positive. Oftentimes people say, you're always positive. No, I'm not. I'm not. But I just know that when I'm around other people, if I'm negative, they're going to be negative. And I don't want to bring anybody down if I can totally avoid it. And that's, I feel, and I learned that over the years. Don't be negative. Nobody's going to fix my problems but me. That's it. And if I am negative, all I'm going to do is feel worse because other people feel the same way and they'll take on my aura. So reach for it, find it, and you'll be happy that you did. Okay, we're at number 6. Okay, ask yourself some tough questions. Now, oftentimes we don't like to ask ourselves tough questions, okay? We don't even like other people ask us tough questions. It's kind of like somebody, why are you doing that? It's none of your business, all right? Leave me alone. No, we can't do that. We have to ask ourselves the tough questions. What do I get from having these negative thought patterns? What is the reward? Because for everything that we do and we put an effort into it, and being negative takes effort. Believe me, it takes effort, okay? It drains. It's so much more draining than it is to be happy. Happy, smiling, heart rate goes up, negativity, heart rate goes down. We feel bad, we don't like the way we look, we feel, etc. So there has to be a reward. I have never found a reward for people that are negative, never, okay? And what do I lose by engaging in negative thoughts, and what are the costs? So what could you lose? Well, you can lose friendships, you can lose time, you can lose health, because it's been proven that people that are negative are less healthy than people that are happy. There's something that I've read many times that says a 30-second belly laugh, okay, can improve your immune system by 50%, just by a 30-second belly laugh. Now, if you're negative all the time, you can't have belly laughs, okay? You're just not going to. Your chin's down around your chest, you're just feeling down. You don't laugh. Somebody says something, you just leave me alone. So if you really want to boost the immune system, try to be happy. Try to laugh. And laughter is immensely important in our life. And then what benefits would I receive from engaging in positive thoughts? Well, it's the opposite of what you lose if you're negative. It's better friends, better life, better health, okay? Better situations, because what we think happens. If you think you're going to fail, probably you will. If you think you're not going to have friends, you probably won't, okay? If you go to the party and you're going to be alone, you probably will. That's the way it works. So what are the benefits of engaging in positive thoughts? Everything that you really and truly want. Because when we think that we're not going to have friends, really we're saying, I want friends. I want friends, but I know I won't have them. Okay. So if we're positive and we say, you know what, I'm the best there is at this party. All right. That's okay. As long as you don't go out telling everybody that, but that might be a little off. But if you think it, hey, you know what? It's people's loss if they don't communicate with me. That's the way you want to think. And that'll get you more involved with people. And the next thing you know, you will be with the people you want to be. And then the next one is kind of the hard one, okay? What in my past made me think negatively? Oftentimes we don't know, because it could have happened when we were very, very young, different things that have happened. And it could be things that happened and it wasn't intentional. It could have been things that we perceived based on what parenting we had, teachers, people that we looked up to and that turned out to be not what we thought they were. I understand that. And sometimes we don't know. We can think about it, but really there's no sense in harboring on it, because what we have to do is change the negativity to a positive. And what's happened in the past is really immaterial, because whatever parents might have done or teachers might have done or siblings might have done, whatever it might be, does it matter now that we're adults or, we know what we need to do? What we have to do is make the change. We just got to say it's past. I use the old adage that when you get in your car and you drive, okay, if you look at the size of the windshield versus the size of the rear view mirror, that's the difference between looking ahead and looking back. There's a whole lot more in front of you than there is behind you. And whatever happened in the past, and no matter how near the past has been, whether it was last week, last month, last year, it doesn't matter. Look for the future, because that's where the positivity is. You're not going to change the negative that happened to you in the past, but we can certainly change what's going to happen in the future. And then what will I do now? Well, look out the windshield, okay? Don't look in the rear view mirror. Look in the windshield and see all the bright horizons that are waiting for you if you are willing to grasp it and take a hold of it and make it part of your life. That's what you need to do now. All right. Okay, establish new habits. Again, it kind of goes back to one of the other ones we mentioned. Okay. So as establish new habits, people, you're not going to just change. You're not going to say, okay, you know what, today I'm going to be positive for the rest of my life. Okay, it's my negativity is gone. Goodbye. No, it's not going to work that way. Simply because what happens is we get into patterns or habits. And those habits, when certain other things happen. So I'll go to things that we all know. We go on a program, we start eating legal foods. We go through 3 months, 2 months, whatever it might be, and we say, I learned and I know what I'm going to eat from now on. And then we're on our own and something comes up, something happens. The brain goes back to the old habit. And then we fall back into the negative things that processes that got us unhealthy in the first place. So what we have to do is we have to establish the new habits, which might be when it comes to eating, you don't have the junk food around, because bad things are going to happen. The negative things are going to happen. People are going to leave you. People are going to pass away. Things are going to happen. People are going to disappoint you. But if you don't have the things around you that got you into trouble before, you have no choice. We have no choice but to move in different directions. So you want to change the habit. So if your habit is, you think of something, if your habit is to go to the refrigerator every time you get upset, okay, have the stuff in your refrigerator that's healthy, because you're still going to go to the refrigerator. You're still going to look in there. And then you take out the celery or the carrots and the hummus, okay? Same thing with moods. Okay. If normally you say, you know what, I'm really down, I'm just going to go to bed. No, nope, stay out. You know what? It's stay out of the bedroom, stay off the couch. You're not just going to lay here and sleep and mope and then fall asleep. You're going to go do something. You're going to go in the yard. You're going to rake. You're going to look at the garden. You're going to go for a walk. And that will change. That will change your habits. Okay. So, down below it says, you could take your pet for a walk. You can paint your toenails. I found painting my toenails doesn't work real well, but I get laughed at, and I feel bad. Just kidding. Being outside, go to the beach. Start with something easy though, something easy that's easy to change quickly. Don't say I'm never going to be a down. What is it?
Debbie Downer.
Debbie Downer. Okay, I'm never going to be a Debbie. That's not going to work. Okay, you have to take the baby steps to get to the big steps. So establish the habits. I mentioned this already. I kind of jumped ahead, and because I just think it's so. Quit watching the news. I don't care if it's morning news, evening news, midday news. It's negative, negative, negative. That's how they get the viewership. Okay, because as a society, we are so negative that they know that if they say something such happened, everybody's going to latch onto it, and they want to see what's happening, who did it, and why, and what are we going to do to them, and let's crucify them, let's whatever it might be. You got to stay away from it. Okay, I'm not saying be ignorant of what's happening in our world, but I'm saying don't listen to it over and over and over again. Just understand that what you're hearing there's so much more positive other places. So we have to go to the positive. Turn on something that makes you smile. Turn on some music. Turn on the music, and when you're doing your stuff around the house, dance around the house with a vacuum cleaner going, or who cares if somebody sees you? Be happy. Get rid of that negative stuff that gets spewed upon us day after day after day. Because our mindset is a choice. Okay, we choose whether we're going to be positive or negative. We choose it. It's not something that was diseased to us, that was brought upon us, and we had no choice. We choose to be positive. We choose to be negative, and at times we're going to have dips where we are going to be a little down. But we have to learn and go back to the habits to bring ourselves out. So you take all this, and then some of it you write down. You start writing it out. Why am I feeling this way? What did I do that made me feel this way? And you're going to find that you're going to feel so much better because you're looking to eliminate the negative influences. Okay? Get rid of the negative. Find the positive. Get rid of the people where you listen to everybody's arguing and fighting all the time and telling everybody they don't know, the other side doesn't know what they're doing. Nobody is right, because somebody is right. You're right if you stay away from it. You're positive if you stay away from it. And your life will be better if you stay away from the negativity. Use affirmations. Okay, I love affirmations, and I love our Evox machine that talks about affirmations, because it tells me what people, and when I do it on myself, it tells me what I most believe and what I least believe when it comes to positive affirmations. I just love it because it gives me something to work on. But use the affirmations in every part of your life. So when you wake up in the morning, feel good that you're awake. Feel good that you can get out of bed, because there's a lot of people can't. All right? Feel good about it. Go to the mirror and look at yourself and tell yourself in the morning, when you look the worst, that you love yourself. Talk to the person in the mirror and be honest with them and tell them what you're going to do. And if you look at yourself eye to eye in that mirror, and it sounds crazy, and you tell yourself that you love yourself, you'll start loving other people better. Okay? Write down some affirmations. All right? It can be simple, like the one you see. I love the people I work with. All right? I truly love the people I work with. Sometimes,
some days.
Well, there's been days. I mean, are there times when I get frustrated? Absolutely. But if I stay on the negativity or the frustrations when somebody does something wrong or I do something wrong, then it's a spiral. And remember, it's so much easier to go down than it is to go up. It really and truly is. Walk down the flight of steps and see if it's easier than walking up the steps. All right. And so in our emotions, it's really the same way. We need to keep ourselves up on top. Don't let yourself get down. Think about the positive things. Think about what is good for you. Okay. And then, try to make positive contributions every day. Tell somebody something positive every day, and get better, different people. All right. I find myself when I tell, for example, Liz or Salah, you did a good job. You yesterday, I felt good because, and I looked over at one of my employees. I said, what you did there was really a good thing. And I felt good because I said it. All right. I hope they felt good because I meant it. But we have to do the positive things, not just for ourselves, but for everybody else. And when we get negative, in which it happens, all right, think of a success that you've had, something that you've done that made you feel good, okay, and the feeling that went with it. Whether it was, the exercise session you had, whether it was the lunch you had with somebody and the conversation that you had that made you feel good, or the person that you were with that you thought had forgotten about you, or the phone call that you got, or the text, or whatever it might be that you saw that somebody recognized you. And we all have it. We just don't pay attention to it. All right. And just like staying healthy physically, mental health is a daily task. Being positive, thinking positive is an everyday thing that you have to work on. But what I'm going to tell you is if you don't work on the positives, you're working on the negatives. Okay. So you have to keep that in mind. And people say, yeah, but it's a lot of work always trying to be positive. Anybody who's really negative, I'm going to tell you, they're tired all the time. Tired all the time. Because negativity wears you out. So if you're going to put the effort into thinking positive, it's worth it. It's worth it because you're going to feel better. And when you go to bed at night and you're tired because you've been positive and you've been active, versus going to bed because you're tired because you've been sluggish and you really haven't done what you need to do, who's going to sleep better? In all probability, it's a person who's tired because they were positive and they worked on the positivity. Okay, think about that. That's the reward. Earlier on, we talked about the reward. That's the reward, is feeling good. Okay, and helping to improve your life. Okay, so we're now going into number 10. Develop your success routine. Okay, take time every morning. Now, people will tell me, I don't have time in the morning. By the time I get up and I do this, I got to go. Then get up 10 minutes earlier. Okay, meditate, pray, focus on on the person you want to be, and think about the quality of life you want to live that day, because it's every day. Don't say, again, the rest of my life is going to, no, it's not. It's not going to be that way all the time, okay? What you have to understand is that we have to take every single day and work on that day. So focus on the person that you want to be and think of it. What do I want out of today? Today, I want to take some time, and I do every day. And before I will ever leave the house every morning, no matter what. Yesterday, I overslept, but I got to get into my Bible. Okay, it may only be 10 minutes, it might be 15 minutes, but it's got to be there because that makes me feel good. It makes me feel whole. That's me. Okay, everybody has their thing, but that's what we need to do. We need to take that time when you wake up and say, this is me time. This is my time to be me and do the things I want to do. And the rest of your day will be better. Some people like to get out and exercise first thing in the morning. Some people but you can do a multitude of things. And once you start doing it, you will have time to do it. You will have time. All right. Because you make the time and then you feel good about it. So you keep doing it. Then you want to set goals. Okay. Set some goals on being positive. But the goals are, what am I trying to achieve? Now, nobody gets up in the morning and says, I want to be depressed. Okay. My goal today is to be the most depressed person that I think I can be. That's not a goal. So nobody does that. Nobody wants to be depressed. And I'm not saying that mental health is a choice, because there are things that go on that happen. But on the basic things, if we work on the little things, the baby steps, we will gradually work our way out of a lot of the things that are going on. All right. And then you start working toward your goal or your dreams, the things that you truly want to do, and quit worrying about it and just work on it. So much of our time and people's time is spent worrying. Am I good enough? Am I going to make my goal? Am I going to own the business I want to own? Am I going to have the relationship I really want to have? And we worry about it and spend so much time and mental effort worrying about it that we never get to achieving it or working towards it. So we have to start thinking the little things, and it's not going to happen immediately. And if something comes along and you find yourself diving in head first too fast, it's probably too fast. Okay. Nothing happens that quickly. It's a process, an everyday process. So if it looks too good to be true, it probably is. So keep that in mind as well. When you know what you want and you're driving at it daily, negativity will naturally fade, slowly but surely. All right. And I stress the word slowly. Again, it's not something that's going to happen overnight. So if you're sitting out there thinking, yes, but I've tried that and it didn't work, well, you try again. Okay. Is there anybody out there that hasn't failed at something and had to start over and pick up the pieces? Yes. I've done it day after day after day, and I'm proud of it, because the number of times you fall down, as long as you get up one more time, that's all that matters. Okay. And every time you get up, you feel good. You feel better and better and better. So that's get a success routine, but it starts every morning. Talk to yourself. Talk to what your Lord, whatever it is you believe in. Talk and don't think you're in this world all by yourself. It might be somebody else. Okay. There's people I know I call and talk to once in a while that I might not talk to but once or twice a year, but when I do talk to them, I feel so much better. Set your routine. Okay. Channel your thoughts into something constructive. Okay. Negative thought patterns are so easy to come by, as we mentioned earlier. Okay. Identify what your thought pattern is, and then project, and then think of a project that you're excited about. All right. So if you understand where you're going with a negativity, you need to stop. Just stop yourself and talk to yourself and say, I'm not going down that road. Think about something that you're excited about. Is it about your kids? Is it about your grandkids? Is it about the house? Is it about a vacation coming up? Is it about something? It can be anything. It can be a new clothes that you're buying, or you're waiting to. Think about something that's got you excited. Right now, I'm excited about the biocharger. Okay, so today I was thinking about that, and I was worried about moving it from office to office, and I thought, you know what, that'll happen. But all the people are going to use it and find out what they think about it and how it helps them. That's what I got to focus on. The other stuff will come along. It'll figure itself out, because the more positive you are, the clearer your mind is. The clearer your mind is, the better you can overcome the things that are bogging you down. But if you wallow in the other stuff, you're just going to be bogged down and nothing's going to happen. And then commit to the project that you're excited about. Okay. Every time you find yourself focusing on the negative, every time, refocus your thoughts for 5 minutes on, and every one of you right now need to think of what that would be. Okay, for everybody it's different. Refocus your thoughts for 5 minutes every time you have a negative thing. If it can be at work, oh, you know what, the boss is such a jerk, and think about something positive. What is positive? Okay, that you're gonna put out a better report than the next person, that your boss is gonna be floored when they read it and they just go, wow, I didn't know you had this ability. Focus on those kind of things, but take 5 minutes and focus on whatever is in that blank spot. And I hope that each and every one of you write something down, because if you write it down, you'll remember it. If you just put it in your mind, you won't. Okay, so think about that. 5 minutes, and we all have 5 minutes to focus. And it's not like you're going to stop your life for 5 minutes every time you have a negative thought, because some of us would stop all the time. Okay, we'd still be trying to figure out what to refocus on. No, you still go about, but in your mind, and your mind has thoughts, thousands and thousands of thoughts every single minute. So you just take that and put that in your mind while you're doing whatever you're doing. Think of that positive thing. Think about, Doreen can be thinking about, this afternoon, tomorrow afternoon, I'm going to be exercising, and I can't wait to get back on the bike or whatever she was doing. Okay, think about it. Maureen and Ed, thinking about, the house being done, things we've talked about. Think about those positive things, moving down south that you want to do. Those are the positive, get rid of the negative, but take some time and think. Okay, number 12, focus on gratitude. Now, gratitude is underrated by most. By most people, it's underrated, but it's so essential to a happy life. One thing that we hear all the time is that our younger generation has no gratitude. Okay, everything has been given to them, and you've all heard this. Okay, they don't want to do anything. They want more. Whether it's true or not, I'm not going to get into that. But we have to have gratitude. Life is not easy. It is hard. That is why I read scripture every morning, because I know this is not the best that I'm going to see. Okay, so therefore I prepare myself for the good stuff, because life is tough, and it's tough at every angle. It's tough in everything that's happening in our world right now. But if we take the tough parts and we use them to become stronger, okay, as we understand the difficulties and we say, okay, you know what, I'm stronger than these difficulties, and then retarget our thought process by the good things that are going on around, the things that are happening, the things that can come out of the situations. Okay, think about the positive portion, because there's positive on every single turn. There is. But the only way that we really know that is if we keep a list of it, and then you refer to it daily. So I would recommend that everybody write down a few things that you're grateful for. It can be another person, it can be a number of people, it can be your job, it can be your finances, it can be anything. But all of those can also be a negative. If you turn them into a positive, then we're grateful for those same people that we could be angry about, or we could be talking about. Okay, so we have to start thinking about the good, not the bad. And I've said this many times. It's so easy to go negative, and I use this example. If at 3 o'clock in the morning the phone rings, what is the first thing we think? Something bad happened. We don't think somebody realized that we won the lottery and they're calling us to tell us we won $10 million, okay? We don't think that. We think something happened to somebody. Now that's normal and natural, but I'm not saying if the phone rings at 3 in the morning, you're supposed to be, answer and say, how much did I win? But on a day-to-day basis, when somebody calls your name or says something, don't think it's going to be negative. It's a positive. It's a positive that they thought to think of you to call your name rather than the negative. So keep a list of things that you're grateful for. Okay. Focus on what you really want. And then be specific about what you want, not in general terms, okay? Be specific what you want. Is it the relationship? Is it the job? Is it living in a different place? Is it the type of people you want to be around, et cetera, et cetera? Think of the positive. Because if you're focused and your mind is positive, you will attract what it is that you're seeking. But over time, it's not instantaneous. Just like losing weight isn't instantaneous. Feeling better isn't instantaneous. Getting a degree is not instantaneous. It takes time, effort, days, sweat, blood, tears, everything you want to call it, okay? You have to understand that. I, for one, spent 20 years in the military. People say, oh man, that was this and that. No, it was a wonderful time. It was the best time of my life, except for what I'm doing now, okay? But you know, I can look as a negative being in Vietnam. Okay, it wasn't the best. I wouldn't want to do it all the time, but I learned a lot. I learned a lot about people. I learned about other cultures. I learned about war. I learned about peace. I learned about everything. So it can be a negative. And I scoff at many veterans that came back from Vietnam that stands, there's nothing I can do. It ruined my life. No, it didn't. It did not ruin your life. Think about, you came back alive. Okay, you came back. So it has to be the positive, not the negative. So we got to be positive, focus. And number 13, try movement, exercise, okay? Release those endorphins in the brain, okay? Get into the body, work your body. Take some few minutes. I'm not saying go out and run 5 miles. I'm not saying that. Get out and walk. Get the heart rate up a little bit, because there's a lot to be said about the endorphins in our brain that exercise brings around, and you feel euphoric. And then other than exercise, meditate. Sit down, relax. Take some time and meditate. Even if it's just to sit there and stare off into space and just say, you know what, this is what I really want. Write it down. Just put it on paper so that it means something to you. There's so many fleeting thoughts that come and go in our mind that you can't keep up with it. Pick the ones that you truly want that come across your mind. All right. Somebody told me one time, when you're dreaming, have a piece of paper next to your bed and write something down, because sometimes the dreams mean something. Because I've dreamt things and I thought, you know what, this came in my mind. It was a dream and I can't remember it. But I remember when I first woke up. So if you write it down right away, it's going to stay with you. So do some yoga, do stretching, do walking, do mental games, do things that take you away from the rough spot in our life, okay? So you have to get out of your head, move, and then feel. Reach for what you want. Get the relief that you're looking for, but you got to reach for it, and you'll find it, and you will feel so much better once you achieve this gratitude and loving of yourself and loving of other people, and just be happy with what you have. Okay. So they say that being positive doesn't mean you don't ever have negative thoughts. You will have negative thoughts. That's what our brain does. It's just like we have friendly bacteria and unfriendly bacteria in our body. Not everything can be positive all the time. It won't be. It just means that you don't let those thoughts control and ruin your life. You're in control. They're going to come, they're going to go, okay? You know, you have the devil on one shoulder, the angel on the other. It's just the one you brush off is the one that's the other one's going to stay with you. So think about that, positive and negative. It's hard. You get negative, think about something positive. And don't wait for things to get better. Life is always going to be complicated, okay? At my age, I thought by now I'd have mastered everything. And lo and behold, I haven't quite mastered it all, okay? But you got to be happy with where you're at. And right now, you got to be happy. Otherwise, you're going to run out of time. And who in the world wants to live their whole life being unhappy or being down? Because it's not worth it. There's so much things to be happy about. Take advantage of it and use your time wisely. Some of you probably heard me say this ad nauseum. You're probably sick of me saying it, but you got to love yourself. You know, all of you should be saying to yourself, or even out loud, I love myself, I love myself, I love myself. Instead of saying, I'm too fat, I'm too short, I'm too tall, I'm too white, I'm too dark, I'm too whatever it is. No, you're not. Love yourself, because you got put on this earth as you, and you are you. And that is the best thing there is for you and for everybody around you. Okay. And everybody should love themselves more than they love anybody else on this earth. Because if you love yourself, you will love other people better. You will be a better wife, a better husband, a better mother, father, grandparent, brother, sister, whatever it is, you will be better because you love yourself. And if you take care of yourself, it's easier to take care of everybody else. But we run through this world saying, I got to take care of this, and I got to take care of this person and that person. And we forget about yourself. It takes time to learn that. Love yourself. Take care of yourself. And slow down once in a while. Just, you know, that old saying, slow down and smell the roses. Because there's a lot of good smell out there if we just take the time. But there's also a lot of stinkers out there if we put our mind to that. So you have to look at it. Is it happy? Is it sad? Okay. Again, I'm going to go back a little bit what I said. You got 5 minutes. Get over it. Then start loving yourself again. You made a mistake. Okay. You know what? I made a mistake. Yeah, I wish I hadn't done it. I wish that I would have went the other direction. But you know what? It's done. I learned something, and I love myself. I love myself because I took the lesson and I handled it, and I'm moving on. Love, love, love yourself. So that's our lesson for tonight. I hope that you got something out of it. I love talking to people about everything, but we have to understand that if there are thorns out there and there are roses, if you grab the thorn, it's going to hurt. But if you learn to smell the roses, life is so much better. Okay? We're only on this earth for a certain amount of time. That's it. Love the roses. Love the people around you. You're going to be healthier, both physically, mentally, and spiritually. That I promise you. Okay? It's work. But it's work to be mentally well. It's work to be physically well. It's work to keep your weight down. It's work to keep your family together. It's work to keep your job. It's all work. But it's okay, because look what you got out of it. Okay? You got a good life. Life is good if we want it to be. So I'd like to turn over questions. I see there is one chat.
No, I'm gone.
Oh, okay. Any questions? Put them on chat, raise your hand, come off of mute, ask. Love to have questions about anything. We have the quiet crowd again tonight.
Hi, it's Doreen. You know, I'm not quiet, so.
You're going to come on board.
I just want to say thank you so much for this. It's so important. And a couple of things that I've learned, just to build on what you just said. I don't know if anybody knows Dr. Daniel Amen or Jim Quick, but just a little thing to remember: kill the ants. The ants are the automatic negative thoughts. So, and like John said, just self-affirmation or positive affirmation is so important. And we often beat ourselves up and we think, well, am I the only one thinking this way? Well, you're not. Everybody thinks this way. And it's so important. You know, a little ritual that I have when I walk into work, and I guess I don't share it with everybody, but I'm going to share it with you because it helps me, and I hope it helps you, is that I walk in and I say, I'm beautiful, I'm smart, I'm confident, I can do this job, I love my job. And I know that sounds funny, but it's just me building on myself and telling myself, because you are what you eat and what you think. So you can create your own destiny by what you think. If you say you're defeated, guess what? You're defeated. So if you say you're going to be a winner, or you're going to be positive, or you're going to get whatever it is you want to get, you're going to do it. So your mind is so powerful. You know, we don't use all of the power that we have in our brain, and I call it train your brain. So you literally have to train your brain. You have to think different thoughts. I say to myself, okay, stop. And then I automatically think of something positive or that makes me happy. So I love what you did, John and Patty. So this is so great and so important. So thank you so much.
Well, thank you for joining us.
It's
Do
nice to
appreciate
see
it.
you.
Yes,
Hopefully
Anybody-
more.
I hope so.
Good.
I hope so. How's your husband doing, just as long as I have you here?
He's good. He's good. He's traveling a lot. It's his busy time.
Yeah, tell him I said hello.
I will. I
Okay.
will.
Who else has a question, a thought?
I could ask a question, John. It's Carol Angel.
Hey, Carol.
So I don't know, around here, I just had gone to Whole Foods a couple hours ago, and it's like back when things were really bad. Like almost everyone in the store was wearing a mask. Some people had on those, I had two people had on those gas masks. I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. And but anyway, I just wondered what is your advice? I'm sorry I came in late. I was still working at the
Okay.
office till about 6:10, but what is your advice right now for, prevention for the viruses that are going around, and for just keeping healthy and positive? I did catch a lot of your good suggestions on the positive thinking.
Okay, so my thought on that is this. First thing, don't worry about the people that wear the mask or don't wear the masks. It doesn't matter. You do what you believe is right for you,
Yeah.
okay?
Okay.
And people always ask, should I get the vaccine? Should I not? That's your choice. That's your choice, okay?
Yeah, well, I already know that. Know the
Okay.
answer to that question, John.
Let me just answer your question.
Yeah.
And then on the second note is, how do you take care of yourself? You take care of yourself by keeping a strong immune system. Okay? It is a virus, like any other virus. The stronger your immune system, the healthier you are. The stronger you are physically and mentally, the better chance you have of never getting it, and or if you do get it, of surviving it. Okay? So it's all about how we take care of ourselves, whether it's physically or mentally. So my advice to anybody who's concerned about it is, keep eating right, keep hydrating, do the right nutrients, vitamin D, antioxidants, zinc. Those are the kind of things. But if you're eating right and you're doing the right things, you're pretty safe. Okay, you're pretty safe. So that's my suggestion. There is no guarantee on anything. Okay, so sometimes people say, yeah, I know somebody that ate really good and they exercised and they got and died. Yes, that happens. I know people that never go over the speed limit, wear their seat belts and whatever, and they've been killed in a car accident. Yes, it happens. But the odds of it happening are less if you do the right things, period.
Okay. So can you one thing that's puzzled me is I know a number of people that have gotten the COVID recently and quite badly around here, where they're very sick. I'm sure they're gonna be fine. Although a few were really close calls.
Okay,
But
what's the question?
I look at my question is, how do I explain that to someone? How do I explain it to myself when I see someone who is done the right things, that, they do live pretty healthy lives, eat pretty well. I don't know exactly their diets and all, but can I make a general statement or thought that if they had been eating better, it wouldn't hit them as hard if they had been taking better care of themselves? Would you
Okay,
say that's a pretty true statement?
No.
No?
What I'm going to tell you is how they ate, what they did is their business, not ours. Okay, that was their choice. Whether it was right or wrong, that's their choice. We can't worry about what they did. We can only worry about what we do.
No, I understand. I understand that, but my question is, do you think people that are having a harder time with it, that are getting sicker, probably aren't living that healthy a lifestyle?
Well, yes, underlying issues mean that people have a greater risk of being sick and or not surviving whatever they get, because that's what they call underlying issues, whether it's diabetes, whether it's obesity, whether it's candida, fibromyalgia, whatever it might be, they're at a greater risk. And if you have those issues and you have an autoimmune deficiency, then you probably haven't taken care of yourself as well as you should. Now,
Yeah.
very, very, very few people in this world that have taken care of themselves the way they should. 100%.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
So we're all guilty of not taking care of the temple the way we're supposed to take care of it. But
Mhm.
what I say is, I need to worry about myself and make sure I take care of myself the way I feel I need to take care of myself. I can't worry about the way Patty takes care of herself, because
Yeah.
she should do what she thinks is best for her and her circumstance. Okay. Now, if she asks me for advice, I'll say, I would recommend that you eat a certain way, that you take certain nutrients, that you exercise, get rid of negative thoughts, et cetera, et cetera. If she just chooses, so I guess a point I'm trying to make, don't try to tell people what maybe they, or tell anybody that so-and-so got sick and probably they were this, because that's irrelevant to
Okay.
all of us, okay? Please just work on yourself and take care of ourselves, because that's part of loving ourselves,
Okay.
okay?
Yep.
When we look at people that get sick, then that's, we feel negative, we feel down about it. You know, there's nothing we're gonna do about it at all. The only thing we can do is protect ourselves.
Okay.
Who else has a question? Heather, I know you're gonna have a question.
I don't. It was very well presented and resonated with me, and I have some things to work on. So thank you.
And we all do. And Doreen mentioned something, and then I will piggyback on. I used to think, you know what, I gotta be the only person that thinks like this. No, I found out through the years, no, I'm not, okay? We all do. We all have these self-doubts. We have this at times, and it depends on the circumstance. We all have it. It just depends on how long we let it live with us, okay? How long? What we think we do. The way we treat ourselves is the way other people treat us. I always use the analogy, and some of you have heard this before. I like to go on a golf course. I don't call it playing golf, I call it hacking, okay? But if I look at something and start thinking, I know I'm gonna hit it in the water, or I'm gonna hit the ball, 9 times out of 10 I do. Rarely do I go, wow, I thought I was gonna miss that shot and I didn't. It doesn't work that way. It's like, I always say, I knew I was gonna do it. I tell my partner, I knew I was gonna do it. And yet I can't get out of my head to say I'm not gonna do it. So that carries over in life, okay? If we feel we're gonna be sick, we're probably gonna be sick. If we feel we're gonna be well, if we feel we're gonna be loved, we're gonna be loved. That's the way it works. So, who else? Georgiana? Usually have some questions. Judy, you always have questions.
Well, all I can say is I have a lot of homework to do.
Yes, we all do. We all do. We
Good
had,
presentation.
thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you. Okay, well, if nobody has any questions.
Georgiana, did
Oh,
you want to say
Georgiana, okay.
something?
No, I didn't have a question. I used to write down my dreams every day, and that helped because I could identify if I was anxious or happy or
Go
different.
back to it. Go back to it. Never too late to start it again. Okay, it's great you used to do it. Sometimes we do things and we get away from it, and then we wonder why we got away from it. But we got to get back to it. So you brought it up, start doing it. Anybody else?
Say something.
Kim, how about you? You always have a question.
Okay.
Nothing, okay. All right.
It
Wow.
was
Adjourn?
really well presented, so I didn't come up with anything. Usually I come up with something and I wait for the end, but I'm
Okay.
good today.
Good.
Right.
Yeah.
Ed,
Hey,
you got
John?
something?
Yes, Ed.
Just wanted to say thank you very much. And being positive is never easy, but it
No, it's
is
not.
always worthwhile. And your thoughts help us to improve so that we can make our lives better each day. So thank you very much.
Okay. And my belief is, Ed, we're all on this earth to make other people feel good, to take care of other people, as other people will help to take care of us. So we're all in this together, and we're all just working for the common goal of trying to be happy, trying to be positive, trying to be well, and live a good, solid life. So I thank you too. Okay. So Patty has a list of everybody that's on, right?
Yes.
So I'm just going to open it up. So for the next week, through the close of business Friday, which is 24th,